Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Movie Markets Podcast. It is Friday, August 21st, 2026. The stock market is opening right now. There's the opening bell. I don't know how many of you watch in the morning the futures, the pre-market movement. It's always interesting to me because you see this, you see this pre-market move, and sometimes it looks really, really impressive, and you think, wow, we're going to get this big, huge open. And oftentimes it does go the way it initially shows it's going to go. But then sometimes you're watching pre-market and it shows one thing, and as soon as the market is open, it's almost instantly doing something different, and not always with the indexes. The pre-market movement tends to be a decent indicator of the overall market in terms of how it's going to move when it opens. It to me, it's almost more interesting to watch individual companies and how they're moving pre-market compared to what they do right at the open. A perfect example of that is I've been watching SanDisk this morning. My first glance at pre-market this morning was about an hour ago, and SanDisk was up $20 a share pre-market. And I thought that's a good sign. It'd be nice to see SanDisk moving up again. I think they should be up near 17, $1,800 a share again. And I think they will get there, before too long. But I thought it looks like it's going to be a good start for SanDisk. And then as I'm watching pre-market movement, especially in the last maybe 10 minutes before the market actually opened, it was $20 up, and then it was only $10 up, and then it was flat, and then it was a couple dollars up, and then it was flat again, and then it was suddenly $8 up, and then it was flat again. And right now it's almost dead flat. I have seen it just in the few minutes the market has been open, not even two full minutes yet. SanDisk has been up as high as $10 or $11. They've been down a few cents to a dollar. They're almost dead flat right now. Same thing with Google. Google was up three plus dollars, I think almost $4 a share pre-market. And then just before the market opened, it was only up a few pennies. And now just in these opening minutes, I show Google up 30 cents right now. It's been up as much as a couple dollars. It's briefly been a negative. SanDisk is down $10 a share now. I mean, it's interesting. Pre-market is interesting in the sense that with the indexes, it can kind of give you an idea of how the market is going to open. But beyond that first few minutes of trading, that pre-market movement, for the most part, is meaningless. It does not give you at all an accurate reflection of how the stock is going to move, with some exceptions. When there's an earnings report and something is way up or way down pre-market as a direct result of what those earnings showed, that's usually something you can look at and say, okay, that's probably where this stock is headed. That sometimes reverses as well. So it's just I'm just pontificating on that. I just find it kind of interesting. Right now, a few minutes into trading session, about 3.5 minutes into the trading session, we've got the Dow up 270. That's somewhat consistent with what futures were showing or pre-market was showing. S&P up 27, NASDAQ up 72. Trying hard to end this week on a positive note after what has not been a great week for the markets, after a really good 2 or 3 weeks previously. So far this week, you've had 3 of the 4 trading days so far be quite a bit to the downside, and then today, hopefully, at least as it looks right now, none of this shows live stuff. It looks like a rebound. Of note, as far as what we're trading, I've already rattled off a couple of them, or talked a little bit about SanDisk and Google. Right now, Amazon down a little bit. I don't have a problem with that. The trade we're looking at on Amazon, or the trade we're in on Amazon, is a non-directional trade. I hope sincerely that Amazon does not go into a prolonged flat movement like this. That 20-day moving average has literally, in the last 4 trading days, gone as parallel as it can go, as horizontal as it can go. It is literally just a straight horizontal line. Hopefully that will shift. Hopefully that will move. We've still got we've got until the end of next week, or I'm sorry, 2 weeks from today for Amazon to just pop a little bit to the upside, a little bit to the downside. I believe it will. I don't think Amazon is going to get stuck in a prolonged flat movement. I think there's enough other things going on, both geopolitically and just in the stock market overall, that you're going to see Amazon move out of this little range that it seems to have gotten stuck in right now. Google up a little bit today, up not much. It's up 60, 70 cents right now, but it's nice to see it moving up. I believe Google, um, if they finish, let's see, if Google finishes to the upside today, that'll at least be two of the last 3 days. That'd make, yeah, 3 of the last 4 days that Google was moving a little bit to the upside. It does look so far like 340 is holding as some pretty strong support on Google. I see that as a good sign. I think Google will continue to move up. I think they should be back up to 360 and be there shortly. Nvidia up a little bit today. Palantir up a little bit today. That new trade that we got in, if you got into it with me, Red Cat. Um, they're down from where we got in, but they're not. It doesn't appear that they're crossing over into bearish territory. They had a few days that were down, but the RSI is not there at the crossover. Neither is the 5 and 20 day moving average. Neither is the MACD. So hopefully that starts taking off back to the upside. That's a longer term trade, and I think I told you when I got in, I put a very very small amount of money into it. I'm less than $500 into that trade, so I'm just not. For me, it was kind of a little bit of a Las Vegas trade, a little bit of a roll of the dice. SanDisk now down about 16, $18 a share. Uh, I'm not sure where SanDisk. I mean, it's because of how high the stock trades, the price of the stock, this movement right now is not. It's not a significant movement. It's not much at all. It would be literally nothing for SanDisk inside of a couple of days to move back up over 1800 or even start moving back up towards 2000. I now they're almost $30 to the downside, but I've seen SanDisk make some huge reversals, whether it's starting way to the upside, moving way to the downside. What's interesting with SanDisk, and sometimes you need this perspective. Um, you look as I move my cursor on the screen, look in this section over here on any of these given days. Um, and I'll give you an idea of what I'm about to show you. You look at a lot of these days and look at the high 1827 on this day and the low 1698. That's a difference of $127. The difference on this day, the high of 1724, the low of 1600, $125 from top to bottom. This day, high of 1699, low of 142, over 100, almost $160. For SanDisk to move in a range of $100 plus, even on these days where relative to the price of the stock, these don't look like, these aren't, a lot of these aren't huge, big OHLC bars. They show the open, high, low, and close. They're not huge. They're not massive in appearance, but and from a percentage standpoint, it's not like these are massive percentage moves. It's just that SanDisk is a stock that trades at a really high price. So 150, 160. Now, I think for a $1,600 a share stock to move 10% up or down in one day shows that it is an incredibly, incredibly volatile stock, because that's still 10% up or down in one day is not normal for most companies that are publicly traded. So that still is a big, big deal for it to move that much. But that also means that, moving back up to 1800 or above would be almost nothing. So that's where we're at. I have not seen in the hour or so that I was watching before the market opened, I didn't see any real big news stories taking place that were driving things. There is still, we're still sitting on a what seems like a never-ending powder keg in the Middle East, just wondering from day to day what might happen over there, when it might happen, whatever happens, how big is it going to be? I would love to see oil prices retreat a little bit from where they're at. I'm grateful that this is the U.S. oil prices, West Texas. I'm grateful to see that it has not gone back over 90. I think it got really close yesterday. It'd be nice to see it get back down under 80 because we have spent some time there. If we just look at the last month, we had this little stretch right here where it was under 80. It'd be really nice to see it get back there. I don't, no one I think thinks that's going to happen until something definitive feels like it really is closing or ending things in the Middle East. So I don't know what is going to go on there. On Discord this morning for the triple play, I tried to send out a trade on Palo Alto Networks. Pre-market, the mid price was in a good range. Now it's completely out of range. So don't sacrifice a higher price just for the sake of getting into that trade. I am not going to play with numbers a lot. I'm not going to manipulate this a lot. I may. Palo Alto Network was up pre-market and now it's down. Now it was up a couple dollars a share pre-market. Now it's down almost $4 a share. So what I might do with Palo Alto Market is completely cancel the order I have in place and just see if it's worth getting into with some different strike prices. But in fact, I would say if you're following Discord and you set up that trade, I just canceled mine. I just completely canceled. It's just not worth it. It looks like we could do something similar at some different strike prices and have a decent price that we could get in. So let me play with that and look at that a little bit this morning when I get off of this presentation, and we might try to still get into Palo Alto Network and just do it at some different strikes. It looks like it may be attractive just with each of those strikes that I sent out this morning down about $5. But before you do that, let me play with some numbers and put something out on Discord. My thought on this Palo Alto Network trade, they don't report until September 1st, and I was looking at some options for expiration at the end of next week, the 28th. My thought on that is that the options I were looking at were pretty close to where it's trading right now, and it would be such an easy reach for Palo Alto Network to come down here below 340 before their earnings, or even just back up here to, what is that? 360. I mean, that would be so easy for it to do that. So if I do see some good numbers that I like in a tight range where it wouldn't have to move way far in either direction, I'll send something out on that. But that's where we're at on a Friday. I have a regular schedule next week. Be on live every morning next week, and the following couple weeks after that. Middle week of September, I'm going to be gone on a vacation with my family, and I will not be doing a podcast at all. I will not be super active on Discord. I will make sure we have no expiring trades or expiring options that week that we have to pay special attention to. That doesn't mean I won't get online and do something if an open trade we have is suddenly moving like ridiculously in one direction or the other. I'm not going to ignore something like that, but I'm going to give myself a week where I just don't have to be directly tuned in. So, and I'll remind you as we get a little bit closer. All right, I'm going to wrap up right there. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'm going to be active on Discord throughout the day, still looking for some new trades to get us into. And in the meantime, enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.